Hello and welcome to the Quality of Life podcast, hosted by me, Raha. I was the youngest Arab and the first Saudi woman to climb Everest and the Seven Summits. And today we're meeting Cynthia. Cynthia is a mother of two and currently holds the position of Senior Director of Public Affairs, Communication and Sustainability for the Middle East region at the Coca-Cola company. Cynthia has been involved in initiatives promoting sustainability, gender equality and empowerment in the MENA region. Cynthia Nawartina, you are officially our 100th guest. I can't believe it. 100 guests and 10 seasons, and we're ending it with you.
Thank you so much, Raha. It's great to be here. I'm lucky, I guess, to be your 100th guest.
I'm honored.
I'm expecting fireworks and confetti, but here we are.
We can give you sprinklers and scoops later. Can
We'll
we
do that.
Can we negotiate
That's
that?
fine. That's perfectly fine.
Actually, we have a history. We have history through my lovely brother Muhammad. Hi, Muhammad.
We do. Hi, Muhammad.
Hi, Muharreg, as everyone calls
Yes,
him. Muharreg.
we used to call him Mo.
Mo.
Yeah.
Mo and you used to work together, something like, I don't want to say how long ago.
14 years
14
ago.
years
yeah,
ago.
we both started when we were 18.
Yeah, when they were
That's
18,
right,
right? Fresh
exactly.
out of,
Yes.
And I think we met then, but your journey since then has been so incredible, and I can't wait to get to know more. And for our listeners and viewers, if you're seeing us, to know you and hear your inspirational story. But before we get into any of the details, the podcast is called Quality of Life. So let's start there. What does that mean to you, quality of life?
Raha, I tried to reflect on this before I came when your team shared it with me. And to me, quality of life really means that the people around me are safe, are healthy, and are happy. And I think safe is quite key given the current circumstances and the world we live in. On the other hand, I also believe that to me, it's all about, living my values, waking up with purpose as well every day. Quality of life could be found in the simple pleasures of life, basically, a nice cooked meal, quality time with my kids, or a nice walk on the beach as well.
Safety, now more than ever, I think definitely is up there in terms of quality of life with everything happening. And sometimes we take it for granted, but it's super, super important. You mentioned safety of your family and who are the people that mean the most to you, but I'm sure they have inspired you and helped shape you in your journey. Who are these people? Who are the individuals? I used to ask this question. I used to say, who is the person that inspired you? But after 100 episodes, I realized that it's never one person.
Yeah.
It's a team of people behind the scenes that propped you up and help you up along the journey. So in Cynthia's journey, who are these people?
So before I answer that, I think one of the questions that used to bother me is whenever you were in an interview and somebody tells you, who's your aspiration? And to me, it was never one person to what you said. It's always a group of people. Now, if I think of a biggest influencer in my life, I think it was my father and to a certain extent, my mother as well, right? I think they taught me resilience. They taught me to lead with humility. They taught me that any small kind of act of kindness actually goes a long way, right? And I think not only that, but also it's the people you meet in your journey, right? We do cross our path with a lot of people, be it your partner, be it your children who teach you some stuff actually as you grow old with them. Or be it the friends that you grow up with. I think we tend to take things from them and get to know ourselves a bit more. What are the things that we value and appreciate about them and ourselves? So it's really sort of a puzzle, I think, that you build as you grow through the years as well.
I agree. And another part of the puzzle of who we are and what makes us our makeup is the things that we consume, whether it's social media or shows or newspaper or books. So I'm trying to compile a list, and now that you're the 100th guest, I think the list is really, really long. But I would love to know, what book would you add to that list? What book would you suggest for me to read? If I can have one book from you, what would it be?
I hope it's not something that has been already said
Let's
by other guests you've had. The book is Manuscript Found in Accra.
No.
By
This
Paulo
is
Coelho.
new.
So the book is about basically, it is a manuscript. So when you go through it, it is a manuscript. It's about a city which is on the verge of an invasion the next day. And women and men from all basically ages and religions come together to the city center that one evening and sit with a gentleman who's called the Copt basically, and who will share his wisdom with them. The idea is that they come in and they start asking questions about fears, about struggles, right? About what the future holds. And then they start talking about values and virtues like loyalty, like love, like ego, like success. And one of the things, and he answers all of these one by one. So he turns all of these fears into wisdom. And when asked about success, the answer is quite simple. He says success is in the way, or is found basically, when you go to sleep at night and your soul is at peace.
I agree.
And I think that's super important because that's something we lack, unfortunately, nowadays. And I think the book is about really who we are as humans, right? And how we've evolved. And I think, be it you or me or our parents or grandparents, really, I think we all go through sort of that thinking, right? What does life mean for us, right? What are we afraid of? What does the future hold for us? And I think we all have sort of the same values and virtues. But what's more important in the book is that it tells you that all the answers are within you, really. And regardless of what adversity is happening outside of you, you will find
And
the
there
right
are
answers.
a lot in this era.
Absolutely.
I feel as though inner peace is attacked on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I feel like my inner peace, I have to actively fight to protect on a daily basis. And sometimes I'm the culprit. Sometimes I'm the one that's affecting my own inner peace. I feel as though inner peace is so fleeting and so hard to hone and hard to protect, but so easily shaken.
Yeah.
Because of everything that we go through in one day. Our ancestors used to have input that was a quarter or one or two, how much percentage less than what we live now. But today, you wake up, you have your phone, you have news on your phone, and you have people on your contacting you on your phone. Again, like I keep saying over again in all of these episodes, is that it's incredible how amazing how amazing of a tool what we're going through now is, like the phone and internet and all of these things, but also how much of peace it has stolen, because we don't guard ourselves, we don't guard our confidence, we don't guard our morals, we feel shaken, we don't guard our self-love. I feel like it's shaken.
Absolutely.
Don't you feel that?
And I
feel like-
think in your case as well, because you're a public figure, right? I think a simple comment on one of your posts could be your trigger for the day, right? Could be you would perceive it differently, basically, and not process it the right way. And then from there on, it would ruin your day. And that lack of inner peace for that day as well.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm a very big happy balloon, and then some thorn comes and pops it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm human. I'm thick-skinned, but I'm human. When someone points out something that you've never really thought of as a flaw, or when someone criticizes something that you are not sure about as in confidence, it's painful. It shakes who you are. So I love that you mentioned this book. It might move up in the list because it's very interesting.
Sure.
It's very interesting because inner peace and peace with oneself is so hard to attain. So hard to attain. Another big part of, I think, the changing landscape of where we're living is that women have become more in the forefront as opposed to before. And a big reason for that is advocates like yourself that have been a massive champion for equality and massive champion for empowerment for women and gender equality. So can you talk to us a little bit more about this? Because I think what you're doing is so honorable.
First of all, I want to start by saying I'm super privileged to do the job that I do. If you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I probably would not have an answer to you. But I'm very lucky to be doing the job I do at the company that I do, and using the power of the brands to do good and empower people and empower women. So a big chunk of our work, which is philanthropic work, is to actually support women empowerment. And through that, I've had the privilege to design a project called Tumuhi.
I love the name.
Tumuhi is a women empowerment-led program that we created for Saudi Arabia. And it was the first program, believe it or not, that we do in Saudi Arabia for women. It was sort of my baptism of fire when I first joined the company 3 years ago. I got a call from the GM and he's like, I need you to think of something. And I had to think of something that was true to the DNA of the company, but also through to what is needed sort of in Saudi Arabia, because at the time they were on the journey of reforms, right? So you want something to actually enable others. And we created Tumuhi, and I love Tumuhi because for everybody who speaks Arabic, they know that it's gender neutral, right? So we said
That's why I like the word.
we want to evolve it from what it is now to actually later support a wider group of people.
Tumuhi is my aspiration.
Tumuhi is my aspiration or my ambition, basically. And it's an ambition in the area of sports. So we found out that, we're very good when it comes to sports. We have one of the oldest partnerships in sports as well as a company. So it was really true to us. And we went in and we supported women find their journey in sports. Today, you don't have to be a national athlete, but you can branch out to being a sports journalist, or you can branch out and being a sports nutritionist. Exactly. I was thinking of that. So it's about creating the ecosystem for women to actually be comfortable. It's about equipping the next generation, really, and broadening the base for them when it comes to also working in the area of sports as well.
I'm so happy to see this initiative because an athlete ما ينخلق in a vacuum. An athlete is not created in a vacuum. An athlete comes out of many important pillars in this athlete's life. Family support for being able to take this athlete, who usually is a minor, to go and train. Having the right trainers, having the right food, having the right doctors, having the right help when this individual wants to improve. That's when you have athletes. You don't just come out of nowhere. It's not, poof, into an athlete. You have talent, and that can be found anywhere. But an athlete who competes on that level needs groundwork and needs support and needs grassroots help and commitment. So I really admire the work you do. And it goes without saying, if you ever need any help, please let me know.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to be
I'm
part of this.
I'm gonna pick on you more than you know it.
Absolutely. A big part of me feels a little bit jealous that I didn't have that when I was starting up as an athlete, because we live in a different era. At the time, there wasn't even, the sports that I did wasn't even recognized in some regions, in this region. Alhamdulillah, now we've came leaps and bounds and it's different. So I feel a little bit jealous, if I can be honest. But in the same time, I feel very happy and proud that they don't have to go through what I did, what I went through. So if you need any help, if you need any mentoring, I'm happy to do so. But I'm a very tough mentor.
I know.
I'm not.
We're gonna pick on you.
Yes, absolutely. Because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. It shaped me, taught me a lot. Sometimes I'm a bit sore about it because I always ask and question myself, where would I have achieved, where would I have reached and achieved had I started early and had I had early training. But at the same time, I'm very grateful that I was one of the first, because it meant that I changed it for someone after me. It's a huge responsibility what you do. And in addition to that, mashallah, you have kids and personal life and all of these things. It's not easy. It gets hectic sometimes. It gets overwhelming sometimes. What would you do when you feel like, Cynthia's just, your battery stripes is down to 1 bar, you're low on energy? What's your recharge? What's your go-to?
You'll probably laugh at this.
I don't laugh.
It's a good playlist and a very nice walk.
Absolutely.
I live in a beautiful area in Dubai, by the sea. So for me, really,
I love it.
Deflating is about getting a nice, playlist on in my AirPods. I did lose quite a few AirPods throughout the making of this. And I did promise myself not to buy many more, but then I gave in and I got more AirPods.
I have the same issue.
Exactly. You lose one. The thing is, you lose
You know why?
one.
Because one ear is always bigger than the other. Let me guess. The right one is loose.
Always.
Why? Why is that? I need to have this answer.
We need to have a science-based fact on how they
The right
design
one is
these.
always loose.
Yeah, so I tend to do that. What the other things that I do journal a lot. And I think it's something that started when I was a teenager. You know, you used to have these colorful diaries
it,
with
and then I
the
stopped.
with the key so that my mother wouldn't snoop into it and see
the
what I was
flat
right
key.
exactly. That I would lose half the time.
Yeah.
But I think journaling is also my creative outlet. I'm also in communications as well. So for me, writing sort of, you know, obviously from a work perspective, press releases and posts and stuff. But my creative outlet is I do have an Insta page where I write a bit of travel memories and I speak to myself or to others through it. I do a lot of I did try meditation,
I did.
but it's not for
failed.
me. My mind wanders through it. I'm not religious about
I
it.
sleep.
Oh, wow. But
Yeah.
that's good. It's good to sleep.
I mean, kudos for anyone that can. I sleep. I
Yeah.
get so sleepy. And usually the instructor usually has a soothing voice. I'm
Yes.
always like, oop, you know, I try.
No, my mind wanders actually. Like I start thinking, okay, what am I doing next when this ends? Which is not a great thing, I
I
think.
tried many times, but I didn't laugh because I think it's so important
Yeah.
to find these little nuggets of joy that are attainable, easy to do, not complicated, because those are the ones you'll be able to do.
Yeah.
The ones that are too many bells and whistles, are complicated or needs other people with you, are usually the hard ones to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you have something as simple as putting your earpods that unfortunately doesn't fit in one ear, listening to good music, walking by the beach. For me, it's audiobooks. I love audiobooks.
Okay.
And just walking around. A good playlist when I drive. I like it
Okay.
when I drive. When I walk, I like an audiobook for some reason. I think it started because when I used to climb, I used to hear audiobooks. Because
Okay.
you can't listen to music when you climb.
Is it?
It changes your tempo
Okay. Interesting.
subconsciously.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know.
And you need to have only one earpod, one in, other ear empty for safety.
Okay.
So having music from one side sometimes can be a little bit annoying.
All right.
So
okay.
that's why I
Good to
developed.
know.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That's why I developed that. But you're a great example of finding your peace where you can, not too many
Yeah.
complications.
And to what you said, it's about controlling the little things. And I try to stick to little habits that I can control because I do travel a lot with my job as well, right? So for me, balancing sort of work life is super key and super important. And sticking to these small habits and listening to my body is super important as well because sometimes you're drained. I do Riyadh on a day trip. I do Bahrain on a day trip. I do
that
Qatar on
too.
a day
I
trip,
do that too.
right?
It's tough.
You start at 4 a.m., you're back home by
at
10
midnight,
p.m.
yeah.
And it means I missed on spending quality time with the kids, but I
Kids.
make sure I make it up for them, you know, in the days to come.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And then it just gets tough sometimes when you have to go through it, but it is what it is. Speaking of it is what it is, I want to know more about that dark side, the difficult side of your journey after the break, because I think it's important to highlight what it took to get here. It's important to know the good and the bad. So
Absolutely.
we'll take a break and get back to the podcast. I love to take a moment for a little bit of me time. And right now, let's take a quick break to say a huge thank you to London Dairy for their support of this series of the Quality of Life podcast. Because London Dairy ice cream is all about giving us little moments of joy and relaxation. If you want to know more, check out the show notes. Now, let's get back to the show. Let's dig a bit deeper when it comes to the price that has to be paid or the difficulties or the challenges, because that's an important part of the journey. So what would you say is the biggest hurdle or the biggest obstacle you faced? And what's the advice you'd give someone that might find it inspirational?
I think, and if I reflect back on my career, and I've done quite a few companies now. Actually, I celebrate 20 years of working this July. So I
Wow.
thought it would also be great for me to celebrate through this podcast.
20 years.
20 years of work this year. And the first setback or challenge I had was when I lost my job or was made redundant from the first sort of corporate company I worked with. At the time, I felt like a failure, right? It felt like I failed myself, I failed my kids, I failed my husband at the time. You know, we were a two-income household. And then self-doubt kicks in, right? And it's not something easy to circle off through, but then it's something you work through. And I think my advice would be, don't let failure stop you or fear of failure stop you. And I think we all do have sort of that imposter syndrome that we deal with on a daily basis. Don't let that stop you as well. Trust your inner voice, basically, and pull through. Because really, if you want to change and you want to evolve, then you have to go through the process as well. It's not going to be easy at times. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging. But I promise you, what's at the end of it, it's something that's way, way better. And I do have a motto in life, which is life is meant to be understood in reverse and in retrospect. And if I look back now, me actually being made redundant or stopping to work for 6 months was a blessing in disguise.
You never know.
My
What doors
kids were
open when one
super
closes.
young. My kids were super young. They needed me. Sienna was 7 months old. Jad was almost 2. And then I took the step up in my career. And that's when sort of I said, okay, you know what? Now you have to start trusting your inner voice, basically your inner beliefs. You too have something to say. And if you look around you, everybody deals with the same insecurity issues, whether you're a general manager today or you're a simple manager starting your career. Pull through, stand up for yourself. What you have to say also matters.
Beautifully said. Cynthia, you have the same mentality I do when it comes to failure, because I believe failing and being a failure are not the same thing. So my belief is always, if you fail, it means you're doing something. If you're a failure, it means you did something, failed, and stopped. So people need to understand, please understand, if you failed at something, it just means that that didn't work out as it should be. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. They're two different things. So get up, try again. I always say I would rather fail a million times than not try once. I would rather get up and try. You have no idea what your life is going to be. You have no idea what door will open when one closes. You have no idea what you're capable of once you see outside.
Yeah.
محورك. I don't know what محورك is in English, but your
Circle.
your circle, or your what's outside your vision, what you see, because the world is so vast and the possibilities are so, multiversed. You never know. If you don't have the courage, you won't know. And that's why I really believe that those who thrive in life and those who get to be remembered are the ones that have the courage to fail. They have the courage to get up and dream big and say, let me give this a shot, because that's something that we lose, I think, as we get older. You don't want to be bad. You don't want anything that's new. You don't want to take too many steps and fall in the process of getting to where you're meant to be. So you're a great example of that.
I think especially if you've got people leaning on you as well.
It's
I think
hard.
responsibilities come into play, then you'd rather play it safe. But whatever I tell my team or anybody that I speak with, I said, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. The advice I got when I moved jobs to my current job 4 years ago, they're like, if it gives you butterflies, go for it. And I haven't looked back since.
And when we say go after it, you don't have to be blindly jumping. Go after it as in study it, see if this is something meant for you. We had a guest recently who was a friend of mine, and she believes in the same thing. Dream, but plan. Have a dream, but plan it. Make sure that you have like a good structure so that the dream becomes a reality. And that's super important. And it's such a simple concept, but people don't really understand. And speaking of things that people don't understand, and speak of misconceptions, you sit at a table that very few women sit at usually, because where you are, mashallah, 20 years, and you have a presence in a pretty much male-dominated level.
Absolutely.
Let's say. I won't say career, I'll say level, right? Very male-dominated. What would you say is the biggest misconception in that, being sometimes the only woman in the room or the only woman in that level or that stature. What would you say?
I do have a funny story about that.
Oh, I love funny
A
stories.
year or a year and a half ago, we were running a mentorship program
Okay.
in one of the most amazing Saudi universities in Dammam. I won't mention names.
I know which one.
You
it is.
know which one I mean. And I found myself in a room with 30 other men.
And you.
And it was me. I thought it was a privilege, to be honest.
It is.
To be heard, to be seen, and to pave the way for others, really. But yes, throughout my career, I often found myself in, male-dominated conversations. It's not quite straightforward. I think you build the confidence also to be there. You get over that imposter syndrome as well to make your voice heard. And I think they do appreciate it. They do appreciate sort of the narrative that you bring to the table, right? I think being quick on your feet and trying to think and trying to be part of the conversation is also super important in that aspect.
And owning the seat.
Yeah.
And owning the seat, I feel like women have this tendency of questioning. Owning the seat, you have the right to be there. You earned it. But I think because it's been so male dominated, you sit there, you're the only woman, you're like,
I make sure I'm heard. I make sure I create a big bang.
I wouldn't imagine you being
a big
there
bang when
if you
I'm there.
weren't heard.
I could stumble and come into the meeting room first, but then I make sure that I'm heard. But again, with it comes a big responsibility, right? Because again, you're paving the way for others. Yes, it's not easy, but I think men are also leaning into it. I'm very proud
They've
to
become
also see
allies, yeah.
they are allies, and we need them, right? Because I want to pivot a bit because we often, as women, we're also not kind to each other.
You're the second guest in this season to mention this. Actually, multiple women mentioned this. It's a dark truth and reality of competitiveness in female opportunities when they are scarce. I feel like scarcity has created this, competitiveness. I feel like men compete on the same job, on the same level, and it's more amicable.
Yeah.
Because they still have other opportunities and they have a safety net to land on. There's another seat they can sit on. But I feel like for women, it gets a little bit ugly and claws come out a little bit. I mean, metaphorical claws, hopefully. Please, ladies, please always keep classy. But because the opportunities are not as available, not as prevalent, it becomes tough.
Or we tend to hinder ourselves as well. I don't think
True.
we do a great job about being our own advocates, right?
Yeah.
I think we need to be our own cheerleaders, regardless of what other women say. In a previous job of mine, I was talking with someone who was quite senior. It was another female, and she's like, "Oh, but you're so sweet. We had delivered on something that day." And she comes to me with that. I said, "You know what? I am. But in that approach, I made things happen as well. So regardless of whether I was sweet or not, I made things happen, right? And I delivered on what I was supposed to deliver on. So for me, it's all about knowing your true value. And I'm a big believer in empowering others and not bringing them down. Because at the end of the day, another motto of my life is, my success doesn't take away anything from yours, Raha.
The world is so
exactly.
big. Like,
and
I learned this lesson the hard way because I'm the type of person that likes to help and give because I believe it will come back to me. But then I realized after a decade in this industry, it doesn't come back. It comes back to me with daggers. I didn't see it because I'm not like that. And then I realized, oh, I'm giving this individual jobs, but this individual is not suggesting me for the same jobs. And I realized, oh God, it's not a two-way street because that's how I grew up and that's what I believed. And we're hurting each other because an opportunity that is given to someone else doesn't mean that, if it's given fairly to someone else, doesn't mean that they took it from me if it was fair. And vice versa. If you give someone else the opportunity, doesn't mean that it's taken from you. Maybe it's just not your right fit. And if we all had this mentality, then it will be a far more healthy, less toxic place. It's a sad truth of competitiveness.
It is.
In women. A story I can give about this because this was really shocking for me. I know some of the best volleyball athletes in the female in the world. I've met a few of them, and I've trained under a few of them, and I've seen them play against each other for high level Olympic medals, FIV, 5-star, the top level. And they have a sense of respect and just athleticism. They have respect and athleticism. They play against each other friendly, and then they play against each other on the court. Of course, some people don't like each other, but there's always that line. I've seen them. And then you come to the region, and not many females play in this specific sport, and it's not very supportive. It's sad. We're a handful, and we're playing on a regional level. We should help each other. We should support each other. It's not on that level, and it's not the case. And I realized it's not the case because the opportunities are not available.
And it's not only that. I think it also has to do with what has been ingrained in us, right?
Yeah.
So the values you grew up with. A reflection that came to my mind when you were saying that, when I was still at university, we had a leadership course. And in that course, we were given a sheet of paper with sort of virtues and values. And he said, pick 5 or pick 4. I went in and I circled honesty, empathy, loyalty, kindness, and then we were asked to raise your hand and just say what you picked. And I did. And at the time, the professor said, okay, you won't be a leader. Go open a flower shop. And I'm like...
He actually said that.
He actually said that in front of the class. And I was like, okay, I mean, these values are true to me.
And it's what I believe.
And it's what I believe in. And it took me years to realize that I really led with humility and honesty and loyalty and empathy and kindness. And it's who I am, right? It's the fabric of my being. And I wouldn't want to change it the other way. Even if you come to me and tell me you were sweet in the way you dealt with this project. Thank you. I was. And I delivered on it. And
you don't have to be bad to do the job. That's just because most people need to be blunt to get the job done. But if you're good at what you do, if you have the know-how, you have the experience and the charisma, you don't need to scream. You can get the job done well. Those people that are loud are the ones that get recognition just because they're loud. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at what they do. You can be sweet, you can be honorable and respectful and still get the job done.
Yeah.
And I hate that people believe you cannot reach to where you need to be without stepping on other people, without being greedy. Like they believe, this is a belief that has become more and more obvious nowadays. And I don't want to be negative, but that's what I've experienced in my decade career in media and in sports. Yeah. I've noticed that it's become, but you can get bigger, you can be bigger, but I don't want to be bigger if it means that I'm not true to who I am or I'm not honorable. And this topic, I think we can talk a lot about it. And I think it goes down to the individual and what are your morals and what are the standards and what you're willing to put your head in the pillow and carry when you sleep, what we talked about in the beginning of the episode.
Inner peace, yeah.
In your inner peace. Honestly, Cynthia, you're such an interesting guest. I can talk to you. Again, I keep telling to Juliet, can we have like 2.0 of some of the guests? Because we don't run out of really interesting things to say. But before I let you go, I have a round of 10 questions, bullet questions, where I'm going to ask you. They're simple. Answer the first thing that comes to your mind.
Sure.
And let's make it fun.
Okay, sure.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay. If Cynthia was a fruit, what would she be?
I'd be a pineapple.
Just another pineapple.
I think, first of all, I did hear you ask the question, so I thought about it before. But I think pineapple because they're sweet on the inside.
Yeah.
But then you have a rough exterior to a certain extent. But I think that strikes a greatest balance. So I'd be a pineapple.
I relate. I also said pineapple because I think it's a very unique fruit. And it's a very versatile fruit as well. I love that. We have so many pineapples in the pineapple-produced podcast. Mountains or beaches?
Beaches, absolutely. It has to be clear. It has to be wide. It has to be open. I don't want to see the end of the ocean.
Yeah, me too. I think we're spoiled because that's what we grew up in.
Yeah.
I'll always chase that forever.
I
love
grew
the
up in Lebanon, and in my family home, we had the best view of the Mediterranean. We used to
Gorgeous.
wake up on that and sleep on the sound of waves basically crashing.
Stunning. Unless you grew up there, you won't know how soothing that is. I love it. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's where I get my creativity from as well, to be able to write and like release some of the stuff. So yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely night owl.
A word that defines you.
I think
A
it
word
would
that
have to
defines
be
you.
resilient. Yeah.
Suits you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
No, absolutely. This one's interesting. What's your biggest fear? What's your biggest fear?
I'll try to answer without getting emotional.
Oh, you can.
I think I fear sort of the safety of my kids or the loved ones. I think that's sort of number one for me now.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now. الله يحميهم. الله يخلي لك إياهم
Thank you.
ويحميهم
خليلك
تحت
أهلي.
رحمته. Introvert or extrovert?
So I think I came across this term, ambivert.
So I keep saying it. I'm an ambivert. I
I'm
keep
an
saying it.
ambivert. So I am an extrovert in social settings and at work, but then I need my me time to refuel basically. So
Agree. So when I was trying to figure out what I was, I saw a chart that was two circles, introvert, extrovert, and they overlap, and the little part called omnivert. I think that's you and me as well. I'm an introvert that plays an excellent extrovert. I mean, you met my brother. My brother is an
Yes,
extrovert.
he is.
I was an introvert, but because of the career I stumbled upon in media, I learned to be an extrovert. But I will forever be more comfortable as an introverted person.
Yeah.
You mentioned these, but I want to know if you could choose one, what's your mantra? You mentioned a few.
I did mention a few. I'll throw in a third one.
Hati, give it to me.
And it was something I learned when I was a Girl Scout. And it's a French saying. I'm going to say it in French and then I'm going to translate
for
it
it.
to English. Il faut avoir une main de fer enveloppée de velours. It means iron fist in a velvet glove.
Okay.
And I live by that motto as well in my career.
Iron fist in a velvet glove.
Yes.
I love that. I've never heard that one before. I like it. You live your life like that. Beautiful. I wonder if there's a translation in Blarabi. No.
We can try to look it up.
I mean, a similar.
Yeah.
What are these
Yad
called?
Hadidiyya.
No, or something
try
similar.
to-
What are these called? Idioms? Idioms. Something similar in Arabic. Because I love it. I'm going to definitely check
Feel
that out.
free to use it. I'll charge you for it.
My French is très, très, très terrible. But I'm going to try to at least follow the concept, even though I can't say it in French well. My mom's going to kill me. I took French for a long time.
I'm sure she will.
Horrible French. Can I say, it's because of my Spanish. I picked up Spanish later
Okay.
in life. So the French just went poof away. But yeah, beautiful language.
Thank you.
What's your superpower?
Multitasking, is it a superpower?
Yeah, wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, wearing a lot of hats, being
Absolutely
a mother, a sister, a career woman, a wife, etc. The list goes on.
I think that's definitely a superpower. A guilty pleasure?
Chocolate,
What kind?
dark.
Good news, we have lots of chocolate today for the for the ice cream.
Yeah.
So we've got chocolate for that. This last question, I want you to take a moment when I ask it, because I think it's a bit difficult. If you would write your autobiography, what would the title be?
The rise and fall. Because I think you have to go through all the emotions throughout your journey in life. And I think, and I'm quoting from something I read probably, that the peak of one mountain
Yeah.
is the start of another, or sort of
Yeah, the peak of one mountain is the beginning of...
is the beginning of another,
yeah,
right?
like
So I think it's I mean, you can have great momentum, you could keep rising, but at one point I think you'll stop. It will either be flat and goes down a bit in any aspect of your life. but then it will pick up again. So it would be the rise and fall of CK,
I love that.
Cynthia Karam, basically.
I love that, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup. Thank
Merci
you so
à vous.
much. My mom's gonna really kill me. It was such a pleasure to get to know you and to hear your journey. And I can't think of a better guest to end this season and 100 episodes other than you. I loved it. It was such a pleasure to get to hear your story and to feel inspired. No matter where you are, you can end up on the table. You can have a seat on the table, and you don't have to be loud, and you don't have to be bossy. You don't have bossy is not a bad word, but you don't have to be loud. You don't have to be pushy. You just have to have the resilience and the grit and the determination to get that seat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. The pleasure was mine, and it's great to
pleasure's ours.
reconnect with you also after
Yes.
this many years.
Let's not wait another, decade and a half to meet again. I would love to see you soon, inshallah.
Likewise.
Before we wrap up and Cynthia starts her Sunday, I wanted to take a moment to say a huge thank you to London Dairy for their support of this series of the Quality of Life podcast. Because London Dairy ice cream is all about giving us little moments of joy and relaxation. If you want to have your own ice cream or know more, please check out the show notes. Thank you so much for watching.